Howdy there, folks. It's almost lunchtime. We're going to talk about deworming a horse today. My phone's ringing. Yeah, hello, this is Taylor Gordon with Diamond Horsemanship. Yeah, you bet. Yeah, sure, I can help work with a horse. Okay, it had problems last time. Okay. I'll be right on. Hey there, howdy folks. Taylor Gordon here with Diamond Horsemanship. Today we're going to talk about deworming, and for number one, I want to talk about how we can prevent problems arising when it comes to deworming our horse. And then for two, we're going to talk about most cases of problem solving with a horse that has problems with deworming. Both of those steps are almost going to be the exact same, and I'll tell you why as we get into it. So before I just go walk up to my horse and see if they're going to take the dewormer, the first thing I'm going to do is start by kind of sticking my finger in the corner of their mouth, okay? So you can see how resistant she is with that process. She's pretty unhappy about me sticking my finger in there. So I'm just going to let her know there's no reason for her to be concerned about that. Good. Okay. And that's exactly how I'm going to kind of start and introduce this to any horse. Now I do this a lot, but I don't do it a lot. Okay. I'm not deworming all the time, but I deworm pretty consistently a lot of different horses. Okay. And a lot of times it's new horses that I don't really know. I don't know if they have a problem with it. I don't know if they never have been dewormed, and I don't know a lot of times if they're fine with it. So I typically introduce this the same way. Okay, I'm going to switch sides and just go ahead and, yeah, see how much better that was right there. So this horse has a mild problem with this. I'm gonna say mild because I don't know the extent of it. Hopefully today we're not even gonna see the fact that she has a problem with it. Okay. Let's do it again. So over here on this side, pretty squiggly with her head, kind of pushing against me while I'm doing it here. Good. And lots of time just rewarding and then releasing that pressure. Okay. And I have my good old tube of dewormer here. Before I pull the cap off or do anything, I just want to see kind of what the response is to it. Okay. Again, like some horses may be very defensive and reactive about this. I'm standing at a good angle off of that horse's shoulder, typically going to stand behind its head and then see where my horse is at. If I get to here though, and my horse is pulling out of there, then I might start, just by approaching its shoulder, somewhere less likely to get that defensiveness from my horse. Then work my way to somewhere in here, maybe its jowl, and then down by its nose, okay? So, and that's kind of a typical standard way that I go about introducing something. If a horse is defensive, I'm going to introduce it here first. This is typically the easiest place to get a hand on a wild horse, is right here on its wither and its shoulder. They can still defend themselves. I'm not necessarily in a bad position, and they're going to be most protective about their head, neck, and shoulders, or their head and neck, and then they're going to be most protective about their flank and hip, okay? So we're not typically working with wild horses, but that's just to give you an idea of where to go. If your horse gets really reactive and defensive about the wormer just seeing it or it being close-ish to it, and they're not comfortable with that wormer on their face or touching their nose or around their head, okay? So she's pretty good with that. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick it just like my finger. And now she's like, oh, it's wormer. Okay? But I'm not going to worm her. Or I'm not going to give her the dewormer. I just want to stick it in there like a bit, or my finger. Good. Okay. I kind of wrestled that a little bit. What I would typically do is, if this isn't working, go right back to put my finger in there. Okay, and that's what I'm going to do now. Good. Okay. Wait until she kind of relaxes and she's like, okay, maybe I accept that, instead of pushing on me and twisting and trying to get away. Good. Okay, walk away. And then let's go back and try this. Just like the finger. Good. Okay. That's all it needs to be. Okay. That's all the time I need to get the dewormer in. Now, this is where it gets tricky, because the dewormer, there's no incentive for them to want this ever again. Okay. Doesn't taste good. I don't really care what flavor it is. You know, you can't really hide the medicine. So, and we'll talk through this, because we're going to actually deworm her. I typically like to, sometimes I just go, you know what, I'm not going to do this again for 6 months. Get the dewormer in, and I'll repeat this process the next time, okay? It sucks that it doesn't taste great. By the time I go do it again, if the experience leading up to it has been positive and I didn't leave with any major negativity, then we should be fine, okay? Other times, if I have a real reactive horse, then I might repeat this process after I deworm. I don't really know what I think about that, because one part of my mind says you're kind of petting away the, like if you correct a horse, you know, like I try to pet it away. Kind of that kind of an idea when you repeat the process after you've dewormed them. Another part of it's like, well, I just did something kind of mean and stuck medicine in you, and then I'm doing it a whole bunch more times without medicine. It's not really consistent, but I don't know. I don't think it can hurt to repeat the process. And if I have a really reactive horse, I probably will. And I'm going to prepare to deworm her, but I'm not going to deworm her. So again, repeat the process. Okay? And I'll, instead of shooting that wormer in, I'm just going to hang out until my horse can kind of hold that tube, just like that. So I make sure there's not like a major pull away reaction, or swinging their head into me and knocking me over, or any of that negative stuff. Good. There is going to be a lot of different ways you can do this. You could make this a point, or a time where they get a treat after they've accepted the tube, and you could make it like a really good thing. It's not really the style I'm approaching this with. This is more of a how to prevent a problem and how to get the job done without creating a problem and without making it a problem if it already is a problem with a horse. You can take this and you can go farther with it. This is kind of the bare bones basics, how to get it done. More of a chore-based look at it, okay? So now I'm going to go ahead and I'll probably think about getting the job done. Good. And I'm just rewarding her here. Get it nice and far up in there. And like I said, it sucks, it's medicine. It's all in your mouth now. It's one of the things we do to take care of you guys. But now I've insured myself that, like, it wasn't a problem. I've insured myself that next time I didn't create a problem, okay? Now, like I said, I'm kind of banking on the fact, without doing this all over again after I just dewormed her, and I'll go ahead and let her lick the tube. But like, she's not really reactive. It's not like, even now that I just gave her the medicine, she's not freaking out about it, okay? So She wasn't that exciting of an example, but I've never had this not work. Okay, now, like I said, I've kind of given you some variations if the situation in the horse is very reactive and very, they know what's coming, and there's been a problem before. It's going to be a little bit different, but the exact same principles are going to work. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope that helped and prevented some problems.